Hi, family. It's Dawn, and welcome to another Wow Wednesday. Or should I say, welcome to the last Wow Wednesday of 2018. It is the last Wednesday of the year, the day after Christmas, and I hope and pray that you all had an exceptional holiday and that you were able to enjoy family and friends both near and far, and that you got you some good gifts, right? I hope that you also had the opportunity to give some great gifts, including your heart and yourself, because after all, that's truly what matters in the end. So last week, I talked about taking some time to put together a gratitude journal and just look at all the amazing things that God had done for you throughout the year. We looked at Psalms 23. I hope you had an opportunity to dig deeper into that scripture and that you were able to pull out some great things that you yourself can be grateful for when you look at just God's provision and what He does for us. So, going out this year, we're getting ready for the new year, and I know, like everybody, you're focusing on probably your goals, your New Year's resolutions. What promises are you going to make to yourself and to others this year? So I wanted to give you a little something that I got. Instead of making promises to yourself and others this year, because if you're anything like me, come the end of the year, you're going to look back and go, man, I didn't do that, or I messed that one up, or oh man, I didn't complete that one. And then you kind of feel bummed out, or the year gets away from you so fast, you think, I didn't get a chance to do all the things that I promised. I need a little more time. So instead of focusing on that this year, why don't we focus on a promise of God? Because my whole goal in this past year was to give you little nuggets each week that would hopefully help you make the best of 2018. And if you're still here with me, and there are some that are not, I hope and pray that you feel that you got the very best out of this year. So going into 2019, I want to focus us back to God and how He is going to help us to make it the very best. So we're going to look at a promise of God, because we might mess up ours and not keep them, but God always keeps His promises. I like to do life mottos, and for a number of years, for many years, my life verse has been Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And I love that. And I hold on to that when I get in the midst of some really tough times. But another scripture that is dear to my heart that I think we can use to hold on to in this new year comes from Romans 8:28. And it reads, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. Paul wrote this book, Romans, and this scripture, it comes after so much. He's just telling us how to hold on to godly living and how to persevere and endure and go through the struggles that they were enduring during this time, that all the trials and sufferings that they had been dealt with or that they had faced up until that point was not in vain. He wanted to encourage and spur us on to continue in the good fight, to continue in our faith, to hold on to the promises of God. And this year has been a struggle, not just for myself. I know for many of you, even in the past few days, I'm aware of some who have lost loved ones and family members, some whose health is ailing, some who are losing jobs. Just a plethora of things are going bad. And I want to encourage you going into this new year, because if you're here with me today, and God willing, we wake up next week in this new year, God's promise to us that all the things that we have endured and all the things that we are yet to face are all going to work together for our good, for those who love Him and are called according to Him. So we've talked in the past about, if this, then that. God says, for those who love Him, He will work everything for our good. And it just reminds me, sometimes we can question whether that's true. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up something. Whether that's true. But remember all the situations in the Bible that are true, that prove that scripture to be true. One of which is Joseph. I love the story of Joseph, the coat of many colors and Joseph's technicolor coat and all the other crazy things that you hear about it. But the story of Joseph is amazing. I think we can look at it, first he was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery by them, torn away from his family, his homeland, anything that he knew. And he was just a teen at the time. He was falsely accused of a crime after he got into Potiphar's house. Potiphar's wife tried to attack him and then accused him of trying to rape her. So he's falsely accused of a crime. He was in prison. He was left alone and forgotten. Remember, he kept asking people, when you go before the king, remember me? And they would forget him. He was left there. There was truly really nothing good about any of the situations that Joseph found himself in. But all of those events, those tragic events of Joseph's life led him to be at the right place at the right time to save millions, his family included. You see, God used 27 years maybe of Joseph's life. And where we would have felt like throwing the towel, give up, he kept holding on to God's promises. And every aspect of his life led Joseph to be at the right place at the right time to do what God had promised his people he would do. And it fulfilled the dreams and the wishes and the hopes and everything that Joseph had had since he was a little child. And he was able to prove that to his own brothers and father when they saw him stand before him as basically the right-hand man to the Pharaoh of Egypt at that time. So you see, the tragedies that we face, the struggles that we go through, they're not for naught. They have a purpose. The scriptures tell us that they are strengthening our character, building our faith, and helping to prepare us for the glory that God has in store for us. So I hope that will encourage you, that although you may be facing those trials, you can hold on to the fact that God is going to work all those things for your good. And I heard something today, Pastor David Jeremiah was talking about this. I love listening to him. And he likened God working all these bad things for the good to building a cake or baking a cake. And if you've ever laid out all the individual ingredients for a cake and tasted them separately, they don't taste very good. Things like flour. There is no flavor in flour. It's not good. You eat it by itself. If somebody cooks you something and you can taste the flour, you will have a real attitude. Raw eggs, don't really have a lot of flavor. Not really good. Cornstarch, baking powder, baking soda even, not good. The chocolate that's used in the chocolate cake, semi-sweet, they're bitter. They don't taste all that great. None of those things in and of themselves taste good at all, one by one. But when you put them all together, he was saying that the word that talks about work all for the good in the Greek means like synergism, right? It's a synergy. They work together. That all of those individual components that may not be great separately will all come together to produce this amazing and flavorful, moist cake. And we love us some cake, right? So it's the same thing with our trials and sufferings. In and of themselves, no, they're not good. And God never wanted us to go through those pains and sufferings. Those are the result of living in a fallen world. That's the problem. Broken people break others. Hurt people hurt others. But in God, we can be restored and renewed. And he promised us that everything that we go through, he is going to work together for our good. So my New Year's resolution is to hold on to that promise. Is to look at every situation that I've been through and walk into as a promise from God that he is working those things together for my good. So I hope that encourages you. And I hope that in 2019, you will step into it with the confidence, the assurance, the security, and faith to know that God is preparing something even more amazing for you. Whatever your hopes and dreams are for the new year, I'm behind you 100%. And I hope and trust and touch and agree with you that God is going to do a great work in you. Thank you so much for joining me this past year. It has definitely been a testing for me, and it has been just reaffirming of my faith and deepening for my convictions. It also helped me with my discipline to be able to bring messages to you each week. I've enjoyed the feedback and hearing from so many of you, and there's still so many more to hear from. These videos are out there. That's the one thing about the internet. So feel free to continue to share them with friends and family around the world. And who knows, maybe God will give me something else for the new year to share with you on a weekly basis, daily, monthly. I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to him. But I've enjoyed joining with you guys each week. And I just want to thank you so much. It's not the last that you've heard from Dawn's Light. Be on the lookout. There is something coming. So pop bottles, champagne, apple cider, spiced, I don't care, whatever it is. Enjoy yourselves this holiday season. Be safe, be blessed, and I hope that you continue to live loved, love light, and make the most out of every day that God gives you. Peace out, family. I really appreciate you guys. Love you so much. Bye-bye.